Hello everybody and welcome back to The Lord of the Rings AI Free-for-All Deathmatch. This is part 3. Once again, before we get started, I would like to kind of go ahead and fly around Middle-earth to show you guys exactly what's going on. Of course, to the west, we have the predominant power in the area, which is the Eldar elves with their capital of Rivendell. They have recently captured the Dúnedains, and also as well the Angmar, or the Ringwraiths, and burned everything down to the ground. They are undisputably the major power in this particular region, although they lack the military and the numbers that the other superpowers in this game currently hold. We'll see if that is a problem later on for them. Moving east, of course, we have the predominant and preeminent superpower in this current game, which is, of course, the dwarves. They have recently just finished a nuclear exchange with their western neighbor, the Sylvan Elves, which of course they have completely subjugated. All of these cities that you see currently in the middle of the map used to belong to the Elves, but they are now dwarven territory. But once again, they were nuked, so they currently have workers dilling and dallying around trying to repair all this fallout. It is quite a tragedy for the dwarves, but they will recover. I mean, you guys can see how big their military is. It's absolutely massive. Moving on south, we see that Mordor is now currently split in the middle between the dwarves and the Haradrims. The Haradrim. As you guys can also see, the Haradrim have also settled a new city in Mordor, perhaps trying to settle as much territory as they can. Moving on south, of course, we do have the Haradrim Empire, or Harad, I guess I should say. They currently control quite a bit of territory, with 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, almost 13 cities, I believe, at this point. That might actually be more than the dwarves, or on parity with the dwarves. Of course, their territory is a little bit more condensed, but they lack the population that their northern neighbors have. This is not quite a surprise, as they are settled across the southern arid area of Middle-earth, where the deserts are. Of course, they are also a very heavily militarized state, but together, the Eldar Elves and the Haradrim probably are in parity with the Dwarven army. If they both declare war at the same time, they might be able to make progress into the Dwarven territory. We'll find out. And last but not least, or I should say probably least, is the city-state of Imenduar. This is the remnants of the Sylvan Elves. They have decided to run away from their ancestral territory and set up this little exclave in historically, I guess, Gondor territory, if we're going by the books and the movies. They're not going to last very long. That much is obvious. Perhaps the Haradrim will take over them, but I'm done talking, or at least talking about what's going on. You guys are already up to date with what's going on Middle-earth. Let's continue. We are in 2052 AD, and we will begin now. There are currently no wars, so I will just be kind of flying around, kind of inspecting things that are going on. The dwarves have officially declared war with the elves. Of course, there is still quite a bit of nuclear fallout that needs patching up, and most of these cities are absolute hellholes to live in. I mean, as you guys I'm sure are aware, nuclear fallout is never good for your lungs, for your eyes, or really for anything. I believe my spy that I sent into the Dwarven capital just told me something, but it went by so fast that I have no idea what the hell that just said. I think that said that they were plotting an attack on somebody. And before we get too far into part 3, I just want to say that, would you look at this, they have declared war on the Eldar Elves. This is going to be quite brutal. I was going to say that part 3 probably will not last as long, just because I have a feeling that the next war, World War III, will conquer or result in the destruction of all of the territory of Middle-earth. There is going to be a big battle here outside of Rivendell amongst these mountain ranges, as the dwarves send across their mechanized infantry and giant death robots. Let's just go ahead and appreciate that imagery for a second. Dwarves piloting gigantic death robots. It's pretty awesome, I'm not going to lie. Let's go south. The mines of Moria are secure. And honestly, the elves have a very defendable pass here. It's just, you know, whether or not they choose to use this pass for defensive reasons. They've got, let's appear, atomic bombs, fighters, and bombers in their territory. Perhaps they will nuke the dwarves. That would certainly help their case. And it seems that the Haradrim have declared war also on the Sylvan Elves. Of course, that is different than the Elder Elves. It is without a doubt that their city will be taken. None of us would be surprised if that is the case. I mean, look at it, it's being surrounded. We'll go back to the important war up here in the north, where it appears the mines of Moria are being bombed quite belligerently by the dwarves. The dwarves are a bit pissed off. And would you look at that, the city-state of Emendor is being set ablaze. And so far, this war is a bit indecisive. The Haradrims, of course, are trading with Rivendell. I don't really understand how they can trade through this terribly war-swept country. It's ravaged by war, I guess is a better word to use. Of course, Rivendell has a ridiculously high defense, sitting at 188. To capture this city, it will require more than just nukes on the part of the dwarves. Perhaps they just... No, they did not. I was going to say, I think a nuke just went off, but that was just a bomber. We will see if the dwarves waste all of their men up here in the northern passes. Of course, the Elder Elves have started to send in their men to dwarven territory in the south. And would you look at that, the Rivendell Elves have just nuked Amon Lunk completely, almost obliterating the troops over here. The dwarves have retaliated by nuking both Rivendell and I believe Imladris. Yes, that is correct. You can only really tell by zooming in for whatever reason. It's a bit ridiculous. But nukes are being thrown around like cottage cheese in this particular conflict. I don't think really any of us are surprised that this was the way that these belligerent powers were going to go about it. Rivendell, of course, is almost reduced into rubble. Moria has been captured by the dwarves on their move into the western territories. Very, very bad news for the elves, as now their strategic mountain pass has been compromised. Although, of course, Rivendell has not yet been captured. But it has a population of 2. It has been nuked literally into the Stone Ages. You know, if the Elder Elves are lucky, they will get a peace deal out of the dwarves. I mean, look at this. The dwarves are just absolutely livid at these elves, nuking everything in sight. They have captured the capital of Rivendell. Middle-earth is bleeding to death right now. I think everybody hates the dwarves at this point, and they've captured yet another city. But when you capture a city that is literally wasteland, a radiated wasteland, I don't really know what you get out of it tactically, other than, of course, you know, burning your enemies to the ground. The dwarves are just let loosing all of these nukes. They've also nuked 2 other elven cities. And would you look at that, the Haradrim decided to set up a new city of bagels up to the north. Of course, it's not bagels, but that's what it looks like it's called. So we're just going to call it bagels. The dwarves are nuking their capital, which used to belong to the Dunedins. It now belongs to the elves, which are in a very precarious situation. Of course, the elves no longer have any military units whatsoever. They've decided that fighting wasn't really for them. I'm sure they want peace at this point, but the dwarves are really dedicated in taking all of the territory they can. The Dwarven Empire now stretches across most of Middle-earth, and Harad really isn't safe at this point. They'd be deluding themselves if they thought that. But, you know, if I was Harad, I would definitely be going north on the dwarves on their undefended stretches of land. But they're not doing that for some reason. Sometimes the AI acts really stupidly. I think the Civilization AI decides to attack when it believes that it has a parity, militarily speaking, with the belligerent that it will declare war on. The Elder Elves are reduced to a city-state in less than, like, I don't know, 10 turns in this war. This war has lasted pretty much no time at all. And with the ending of this year, the dwarves have completely annihilated The elves, they no longer exist. And really, to show for it, we have a depopulated region of Middle-earth that used to have hobbits. Of course, the hobbits were massacred by the Ringwraiths and the Dunedins, who were in turn massacred by the elves. But guess who massacred the elves? Well, you don't really have to guess. They're right here. The dwarves, ladies and gentlemen. Tongue twister. The elves, ladies and gentlemen, have been annihilated by the dwarves. Not really a surprise considering their animosity. At least in the Hobbit movies. I know you guys probably don't really like the Hobbit movies, but, you know, I noticed that the dwarves and the elves didn't seem to get along too well. And that has been brutally enacted for you guys here this evening. Or this day. I guess really whenever you're watching this video. The Haradrim, for their part, are setting up a lot of citadels in defense in preparation for the attack by the northern belligerent of the dwarves, I should say. But, like scrubs, they've decided to set up citadels on already geological defenses that they've got along these mountain passes. If I was them, of course, I would have attacked them while they were attacking the elves. But besides that, I would have set up, a perimeter over here on their, I guess, demilitarized border near Sutherland and Minas Tirith, or over here even in Mordor. But I guess they lack that intelligence because they are a robot. I want to remind you guys that they are indeed a robot. My spy in the capital of the dwarves has revealed that the dwarves plan on attacking the Haradrim. This is really a surprise to nobody. I mean, really, this is not a surprise. Of course, the only way to win in this particular deathmatch is through domination victory alone. And let's take a moment to appreciate this vast capital of the dwarves. They are slowly but surely repairing all of the fallout that has befallen their capital, or I guess their lands. They have cities that stretch across all of central and northern Middle-earth. And look at these cities. We apparently don't give a fuck about Harad. Really, they only have one cities out of the top 10 tourist spots. If you're not going to a dwarven city, you're really missing out on your vacation plans. But then again, the Dwarven Domain also has a lot of fallout, which I take it that, all these workers are probably slave workers conquered from the elves and really anybody else they fought. They're diligently scrubbing the land of fallout. Fantastic. And I want to zoom in on the dwarves. Do they look different? No, they still look like humans. I was wondering because, as I showed you guys earlier in earlier videos, the orcs, they have unique character models, as do the elves, and, well, I guess that's about it. I'm sure that the Ringwraiths also have unique character models, but looking at this demilitarized zone before the battle starts, or I should say the final war to end all wars, I will say that it seems that the Haradrim are technologically inferior to the dwarves. I don't really see any Haradrim death robots, whereas the dwarves have lots and lots of giant death robots, which are, of course, to the people that are new to Civilization with this particular series, the giant death robot is the most overpowered unit in Civilization. It is incredibly, incredibly powerful. And I'm not sure if anybody else noticed, but there's actually a Gondorian great general with the name of Montgomery. I don't really know why there's an American great Gondorian general, but we'll just, we'll appreciate this for a moment. I mean, Gondor has not been forgotten. Much like Napoleon, he has been exiled to an island that I know not the name of, but much like Elba, where Napoleon was sent to rot, it seems that Montgomery was spared his life in exchange for a life of eternal exile. I was going to say external exile. I guess it is indeed external exile. Really, I'm just rambling on at this point as we prepare for the inevitable conflict that will befall Middle-earth, the last and final conflict that will conclusively cement the dwarves as the victors of this particular free-for-all. I say that. Perhaps the Haradrim will pull through. I just sincerely doubt it. I'm really putting all my money on the city of bagels up here. You know, maybe they'll do some great things here. Confuse the dwarves into attacking them with a false flag. Now, it might just be me, but because the Dwarven Empire is so stretched out, it seems that they don't really have as big of a military as I once presumed. This might actually come to a benefit for the Haradrim, who are comparatively well packed, or I should say packed in. As you can see, a lot more military per capita, if that's even an indicator that we use. Probably isn't. I should say military per square mile or per square meter for my European viewers. It says that the Dwarven King wants to attack, but that's probably after he, you know, strokes himself off to the glory of the Dwarven Empire. I mean, really, they've got this unless if they screw up massively and their ambitions to take on Harad. I don't really understand because I know that the Ring Wraiths are still in the game. I'm trying to figure out where. As we see, Montgomery is a Gondor unit over here to the west on the island. Where is... Oh, here we go. The Witch King has a worker over here in the very northwest of Middle-earth. They must be terribly confused. And Gondor actually has got some units up here. In addition to the Tunadins, they somehow also have a worker over here. They're both really scared, kind of chilling over here. They might just be the smartest individuals in this entire free-for-all deathmatch, as they are avoiding the nuclear holocaust that has befallen Central and Eastern Middle-earth. Although much of the fallout has been scrubbed away, and the dwarves are rebuilding their conquered territory. You can almost visualize all of these elven and Dunedin monuments being torn apart and thrown to the ground. And to all you would-be Middle-earthen adventurers and hikers and all that, don't go into these mountains. They're absolutely irradiated. I wouldn't even touch them with a 10-foot pole. Not like I'd be able to go up there anyways. Come on, guys. You know you want to declare war on each other. I'm going to give it, let's see. I'm going to give it 5 more minutes. And if they don't do this naturally, I think I'm just going to force them to declare war on each other. Because I want to keep this interesting for you guys. And no amount of waiting and military buildup on the side of the dwarves is going to change the outcome of this battle. So I think it's fair if we just use our trusty in-game editor mod to force a conflict. Of course, I don't actually have access to in-game editor. I just realized I'm pretty stupid for not realizing that faster. So we're going to have to do things the old-fashioned way and hope that they decide to engage in hostilities. I think at this point, the dwarves are just trying to regain their happiness. You know, acquiring this amount of territory really, really hurts your happiness, and it wouldn't surprise me if they're dealing with issues related to happiness. And, right, of course, we already knew that. Let's take a look at the demographics while we wait. Of course, in the lead of population, the dwarves have 328 million people. That's absolutely incredible. I mean, just considering that amount of people, that's more than the population of the United States of America. And, oh, come on. I have to pop out of demographics to make the turns go. Crop yield, they also dominate. They dominate really in everything, it would appear, except for approval, which the Gondorians actually have. It doesn't really make any sense. I mean, they don't have any city, but I guess they really approve of Montgomery as a general. And surprisingly, the Haradrim have very low approval in their lands. They're suffering from a lot of dissent, it would appear. I mean, I can pop up that indicator for you guys again, if you'd like. See, approval. They've got 42% approval. That's really, really terrible. I think that almost means that they're in the negatives. Of course, if they drop too low on approval, we will see armed rebellions in the form of rebels, or I guess barbarian faction military units. We haven't seen any so far, so good sign for them. My spy continues to tell me that they plan on invading, or I should say that the dwarves plan on invading the Haradrim. Kind of dying of boredom over here, waiting for them to do so. Look at that. The absolute industriousness? Whatever. The absolute industry that's being carried across here and the Dwarven lands. I mean, look at this. This is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is like 11 workers working simultaneously for the good of their empire. That's really impressive, actually. The amount of money it must take to simultaneously improve every single tile in your territory. That's just crazy. Oops. But the dwarves really haven't expanded outside of military conquest, with the exception of Redhorn Pass, which I don't even see over here. Why are some of these cities invisible? I don't know. The city is just consisted of APCs, it would appear. Armored personnel carriers, I should say. Why don't you attack? I don't know. You know, guys, I did say in 5 minutes ago, I would force them to attack each other. Let's just go ahead and do that. I mean, this is getting pretty boring. We're going to name this Middle Earth. Oops, not Middle East. Middle Earth World War 3. And hit save. We are going to go exit our menu, and I'm just going to enable the in-game editor so that we can force a conflict between these two powers. This mod in-game editor actually pops up in the top central part of your screen, assuming it loads. And if it does load, we can do cool stuff like take control of an AI and force them to attack each other. As you can see, in-game editor has worked. So here we go. We are about to do some funky stuff. And by funky, I mean have the dwarves declare war on the Haradrim, just to speed things up a tad, keep things interesting. We're going to have Harad declare war on them. Harad is tired of this shit, and they want to declare war on them. So they're going to declare war on Thror, and Thror will declare war on everybody else, besides me. Right, so now that that's happened, let's sit back, relax, and watch it happen. I'm not going to have auto intern on just because this is the final war, and we'll take it one turn at a time. Let's watch as this thing gets down and dirty in the lingo of the time. Sutherland has, of course, been hit by bombs, it would appear. And let's go over here to the north, where Bagels is still in a very good position. Very nice. Right, so... Oh, wow. Good thing I, have this not going automatically. Gorgoroth has taken quite a bit of damage, as has Nogrod, which has been nuked. So nukes are going to start flying around, it seems. Pretty soon I have a feeling that the Haradrim will be nuked as well. Near Harad has been struck by what appears to be bombers. While the dwarves move in on central Harad. And by central I mean, of course, Sutherland. The town of Bagels is still alive. Still kicking, which is good. And it appears that Minas Tirith might have been nuked. It has. Gorgoroth has been has been captured by the dwarves. The dwarves now have an undeniable advantage in Mordor, with the exception of Incanus. in Canis to the east. The Haradrim are a little bit trigger happy on the nukes, which they're throwing around freely at this point. Minas Tirith and Edoras, and even as far north as Aldburg. But as you guys can see, there is an army of Dwarven janitors ready to clean up and mop up all of the tears that have resulted from the irradiated wastelands. Sutherland is now in a perilous condition as the dwarves move on to taking it. As you can see, the dwarves have just taken Sutherland, and they're probably moving in on Sunland as we speak. Bagels still seems to be safe, which is nice. Sutherland has been captured by the Haradrim and promptly taken back by the dwarves. I have a feeling that this will happen for a few turns. You really don't want to be living in Sutherland. The town of Ithilien to the west of Sutherland is now under attack, as is the town of Sunland to the southeast. Harad has taken back Sutherland, which will undoubtedly fall once again. Right. So the dwarves, in a sweeping blow, have taken both the city of Sutherland and Ithilien, or however you pronounce that. And the dwarves have also taken Sunland. And it appears that the dwarves are in a good position in striking the capital region of the Haradrim. As you can see, the deserts over here have much more than camels now. They actually have irradiated clouds and fire. Very, very nice. It's almost as polluted as Beijing over here, as the Haradrim struggle to breathe in this apocalyptic environment. Camera gets really screwed up in between turns, as I once said earlier. Oh no! The town of Bagels has been captured by the dwarves. Many bards will lament upon the loss of that fine, fine city to the northwest. But Dwarven global hegemony seems almost assured at this point, as the dwarves move in on Near Harad and Far Harad. You know, both Near and Far Harad being taken probably in the same turn. Let's go ahead and see how this plays out. These giant death robots don't fuck around. Near Harad has been captured, as has been Far Harad, both in the same turn. Effectively splitting anyways, the Haradrim domain between the western half and the eastern half. I'm sure the Haradrim are feeling mighty stupid now for setting up these fine citadels in the middle of nowhere. I mean, really, that was quite the strategic blunder. As the dwarves move on the Haradrim capital, it almost seems that next turn, victory for the dwarves will be assured. I want to thank again all my viewers for tuning in on this particular episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this series as much as I did. I mean, this was really, really fun. If you guys have any suggestions for future series, do let me know. I know a lot of you were mentioning Fallout and Game of Thrones. No worries, those will all happen in due time. And, of course, the one that I want to focus on, and that will probably come as soon as this series is over, is taking all of the previous victors of the Civilization Deathmatch series, and of course by victors I mean the non-fictional victors, like Texas, who I'm of course rooting for, Venezuela, Denmark, you guys get the drill. Placing all these victors in a world-sized civilization map, and having them all battle each other and seeing who comes out on top. I'm really kind of looking forward to this. Of course, the dwarves have won. I mean, this is really no surprise. But let's just go ahead and take a second and watch as they eliminate everything from the map. If you're like me, you like to watch complete destruction of everything else, as the Haradrim still control two cities that are separated by quite a bit. Of course, one city was literally nuked into the ground. Nuclear missiles can destroy cities, as they did in that case. And the city of Khand will be taken by the Marines and the Dwarven Air Force. And look at Middle-earth. Middle-earth is now completely captured and controlled, subjugated and enslaved by the dwarves. Once again, thank you guys for watching. Please leave a comment if you guys would like. Let me know what you guys want from any future videos. Perhaps I'll do another Lord of the Rings one if you guys would like. Maybe with different civilizations next time. Yeah, just leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think. And once again, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video. And I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care.